What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Cheese Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and tonight I am joined by my favorite Bears fan, uh, Cheap uh, Cheap Seats 411. Um, no, that picture of him floating around social media was not real. He wasn't in Bears clothes. He was wearing Packers clothes. Um, man, isn't AI scary?
It is very scary. I was a Packers fan. I was a Cubs fan. I think I was a Raiders fan, and then a Rantoul High School in Illinois fan. I was like,
Yeah, it's crazy. All of a sudden, I have all these Bear fans like reposting and commenting. Take this stuff off, sue them and damages. It's like, come on, it's all in fun, man. But yeah, welcome back on the show. I appreciate you making time to be on.
thank you
Um,
for having me as always.
Absolutely. With this week being, I guess the start of, I guess if you want to say it, the NFL season, because they got the draft and you got the OTAs and stuff coming up this summer. What with what has happened this offseason, like with the Bears losing, they lost quite a bit of defensive players, didn't they? Like,
So they lost 12 players who started at least one game last year in total, offense, defense. Um, I don't believe they have a safety under contract right now, so they're still. But yeah, they let a lot of guys just walk away, like the Kevin Bear, Nashawn Wright, Jaquan Brisker, who was a fan favorite for a few years. He was a former draft pick of theirs. They My only conclusion is that they just weren't what Dennis Allen really wanted in his defense. He wanted more speed. So he didn't re-sign any of these guys who are up for contract, and they didn't receive big contracts when they went out into free agency. I think they were all getting like the standard 1 year $5 million deal out there. So I think that says there's something to be said about that. Their decision to let these guys go. Great guys, they had a great season, but um, Ryan Poles, the general manager, said they're not going to make emotional decisions. It's they've got to do what's right for the team and for the Bears. So
yeah, it kind of with the Packers and how much we all love Jair Alexander when he had his end of his tenure in Green Bay. It's kind of like he the last 2 3 seasons he was injured for how many games, and you want
yeah,
to pay this guy how many million a year? And then he goes to two different teams. He's pretty much, I think mental health issues, and it's just you see him posting all these things on social. Well, you probably don't because you probably don't follow him, but I do,
I've
and
seen it, but yeah,
just touching messages to all the organizations that he was with and thanking them for whatever. And then he's like one about Green Bay. Oh, should we run it back? Like hinting maybe I should come back to Green Bay, but it's like I don't know, man. I think that train has left the station, as Mike McCarthy would say.
yeah.
But I was kind of shocked, I guess, that DJ Moore went to the Bills. What are your thoughts on that? I know that there are some fans that are saying they're glad he's gone. Like I thought he was a hell of a player for you guys. Obviously, the game's against us.
Right. Yeah,
It is
right.
what it is. It is what it is.
He literally had two of the biggest catches in Bears history when you think about it, with those
Yep.
in the last game or the last regular season game against the Packers in the playoffs. I didn't think there'd be anybody that wanted to go after his contract. I thought he was going to be a Bear just because his contract isn't. I think it's 27 million he's going to be earning, and for a guy who had 700 yards receiving, that's a lot of money. And I think that's where the Bears were thinking too. That's a lot of money for the production. But the Bills turned out to be the perfect buyer because you know they're they're in that window, they believe, and they need a receiver for Josh Allen. And if they can get a year or two out of him and get them to a Super Bowl because they think they're right there anyway, and this is the guy, it was the perfect thing. And we got a second round draft pick for him. which that was the big. I could not believe they got a second round draft pick for it. So
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to have like this whole like stacked receiving room," but you really don't. I mean, you look at, I mean, for example, the Bills. They have Josh Allen. He can run. He can pass. You maybe have one good veteran receiver, but all these mediocre guys, they turn average guys into good receivers, good players. The Packers do the same thing. They do the same thing. I mean, they don't go out and invest all their money into one position because Green Bay's philosophy is there really isn't a true number one. You spread the ball evenly. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I mean, I
yeah.
think
If you look at the Bears had a top 5 offense production wise, and they didn't have one receiver get over 750 yards. It was Colston
yeah.
Loveland. Now, Roman Dunze had 700 yards and he missed the last 5 games, but still, they had Loveland, Komet, DJ Moore. These are those guys getting like 700 yards, spreading the ball around. So I don't know if they're going to have like a 1,500 yard receiver.
As long as you're doing what you're doing and you're winning games, doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's
Touchdowns.
yeah,
That's what matters.
yeah. This get touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you mentioned what's his name, Nashon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he had a great year last year. I'm kind of surprised that good good defensive backs are hard to come by, and you let someone like that kind of go. I was kind of shocked to let him go as well, just because I know the name. I became familiar with him when they were playing the Packers this last
Right.
year. I'm like, damn.
He had some very good plays. He has a nose for the ball. His speed just wasn't there. It's like, as a Bears fan, it's like okay, they've got 5 or 6 interceptions, but there's how many more plays on the field that they've got, and it's just, especially like against the Packers, it just seemed like Christian Watson was running by guys by 5-10 yards all the time, and it was just the speed wasn't there with these guys, and that's what Dennis Allen's looking for. So they got Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks. That's one of his main attributes, outside of just being a good defender, is like he's very fast, and but that was the thing with Jaquan Brisker. They let him go. He was great when they would put like blitz packages in. He was very aggressive, hard hitter, but he wasn't fast enough to keep up with guys like in the division. You've got Jefferson in Minnesota. You got Christian Watson in Green Bay. These the guys up in Detroit are all fast, and we just could not keep up with them. And the Detroit games were very apparent to that. It's just
Hey, we're gonna be going to church Sunday morning and saying our Hail Marys against Jahmyr Gibbs and Pacheco. I mean, those guys are like identical running backs, whatever they are. When they get the ball, they want to hurt you. And but yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's like Watson. What frustrated me with the games last year against the Bears, when I think to open up, Watson had that crossing route in the second level, and like they couldn't catch him. Like he caught the ball and he ran for like a 50, 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
They didn't go back to it. Why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you do what works?
Yeah.
Run until they stop you. And it's just stuff that works. Keep on doing it, or do something in that same formation, but do a little tweak so that the defense reads it, and then you get something going on the other side of the field. That is, that stuff really irked me this last year when us as fans could like see the formation and know what was going to happen before it even happened, and then it's just like, come on, man. Like LaFleur is a good play caller. Like when he's like on his game, I personally think he's one of the best in the league.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Top
but when
5.
he's running into issues, it's bad. I think that's going to change this year. Hopefully, I hope it does. Especially, I mean, it did suck, losing Tucker Kraft, because he was a major part of that offense too. Because he freed guys up too. I mean, if you have like a Watson and a Tucker Kraft get double teamed, you have guys open all over the place. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to help the Packers, with getting Devontae Wyatt back, obviously getting Michael Parsons back. That was huge. Getting Micah Parsons back,
What's the
and
prognosis on him? At what point is he going to be day one or game one?
three
Week
to
one,
four, 3 to 4 games.
3, 4. Okay.
But I don't know. You've probably seen me post it. You've probably seen if you follow other Packer fans you follow on social media. But that Baron Sorrell, that video of him on that treadmill. Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I'm like, that looks like freaking whatever, like a freight train out there. And
Yeah, I
I think
see
it's
that.
cool how Micah Parsons is taking these young guys. Well, Parsons is young too, but
Yeah.
under his wing and bringing them down to Dallas. And I think he's over like in Brazil or by the Christ the Redeemer statue with Baron. I think it was Baron Sorrell. So he's spending time with these guys, and I think it's going to pay off for the Packers. I really do. Hopefully, we can, you know, have a show on the field. But
This
it really sucked having him go down. It was
Yeah,
like one of the most probably gut wrenching injuries I've seen as a Packer fan.
I bet. Yeah. Especially the time of the year when you guys are just starting to get rolling. Yeah. That was
Yeah, I mean they're up on Denver, and next thing you know, we lose like five
yeah.
straight. It was just abysmal. It's like one thing after the other. But no, I'm looking for a bounce back season this next year with the Packers, and hopefully not a repeat of last year. That was terrible. One thing that I'm happy about is the Rashawn Gary trade. We're gonna, from what I've heard, we're gonna cut him anyways.
Yeah.
And the trade with Dallas, I mean, thank you, Jerry, again. And you got these Cowboys fans like, oh, look at his workout videos. We
Ugh,
saw the same thing for how many years? When
yeah.
you go the last 9 games, 10 games of the season, and you don't get a sack. What are we paying you oogles and millions for?
Yeah,
When you have that
he should have been benefiting from the Micah Parsons
Micah,
double teams.
yeah,
Yeah, and it didn't seem
I
like he
mean, the play that defines like his last year in Green Bay, it was against Chicago. It was when I think Caleb rolled out. I forgot what side he rolled out to, and you have like Rashawn like jogging after him, and all of a sudden here comes Micah Parsons out of nowhere. Just he just passes Rashawn Gary. He's just sitting there jogging. It's like, come on, dude.
yeah.
If you go back and look at his sack total from last year and how many millions he made several million per sack last year, and that's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
um, but what direction do you see the Bears drafting this year?
That's a very interesting question, and in my head it changes a lot, and I think it's because Poles with all the moves he made in the offseason with free agency has kind of set himself up, Bears up to really take best player available at 25 in multiple positions because it could be. I think their two biggest. I think they'll be most aggressive at safety and probably defensive tackle. I think
Yeah,
that's their first line of vision. But if a left tackle comes down because they need a left tackle again because they lost Ozzie Trapillo, um, if there's somebody there that they like, they can grab him. If there's an edge there that they like if Zion Young happens to be there at 25, they can grab him. If a cornerback happens to, so it's like they have a lot of needs, but it's a lot of its depth is what they need right now. So I think that the moves that they made in free agency, picking up the center from New England after Dahlman retired unexpectedly, and getting plus we're getting like a Javon Dexter. These guys are coming back off of injuries, so there's a lot of Braxton Jones, the left tackle, that's coming off of an injury from last year. He could fill in at left tackle, but I think they're going to go defense, and I think they're hoping to get a defensive draft the way they got an offensive draft last year. When they got Colson Loveland and they got Kyle Mongai in the seventh round, and things like that. And they got Trapillo in the second round. So I think they're looking to have a defensive draft like they had an offensive draft back last year.
yeah. I've been saying for a while since I think probably mid-season or ever since Micah went down, we didn't need to draft. I think priority number one should be cornerback because Keyshawn Nixon. I don't think he's it.
Okay.
Valentine showed he showed flashes. Here's my thing though, and I'm gonna say till the day I die is if you don't have constant pressure on that quarterback within 3 seconds, any cornerback's gonna look like garbage out there.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. If you can't get to that quarterback and disrupt his flow, his plan, and his
Mhm.
receivers running routes, any corner is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And it showed big time when Parsons was injured. We were getting scorched earth society on us. It's just left and right. And I mean, the game against Dallas, and you had I don't know if Pickens was going across the 20-yard line, and Keyshawn Nixon's like in the end zone doing something, and Micah Parsons is getting hell trying to rush Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott rushes out to the right, throws a missile down the field, and it's like, come on, we could have had the game there. It's just when we had that constant pressure on the quarterback, Nixon and Valentine were like all pros.
Yeah.
I mean, they were when they're playing good, they're playing good. But once you lose that pressure, I mean, you're paying Rashawn how much on one side, then you lose Micah, you lose Devontae Wyatt, then you have some younger guys in there that's not getting the constant pressure, and that all goes out the window. So
Yeah.
I just think with what the Packers are doing, um, when they got Zaire Franklin, I think that was a good move. Letting Quay Walker, I don't think they even tried to re-sign him. They might have, but he had some pretty good games. But these guys want to go and get paid all this money. I mean, you can't afford everyone you want to keep. And I just think
Right.
we have guys that are young that we drafted the last couple of years that are going to step up and make an impact for the Packers. And I think cornerback, D tackle, linebacker, offensive line. You know, Packers can get a receiver in the late round and you
Right.
know
Yeah, I was thinking
just
that. Yeah.
have some speed and have some hands, and you're good to go. You
Yeah. And
know.
you can never have too many linemen. You can always, as the Bears showed, they draft an offensive lineman that they think they've got for the next 6, 7 years, and he goes down in the last game of the season, and who knows how he'll recover from. I'm talking about Ozzie Trapello, and so now we're looking at the same spot as we were last year, trying to fill that position. But so you can never have too many linemen, offense or
Yeah, I
defense.
mean, look at the Packers, and we had Rasheed Walker out with the injury. We had Zach Tom out with the injury. We had Sean Ryan was hurt. I mean, it's just like you can never have too much depth on the line,
No,
especially. I mean, I think back to the COVID years when Aaron Rodgers, they're moving all the linemen all around everywhere, like right tackle playing left guard playing center. It's just crazy, and it worked, and I think I'm a firm believer in addition by subtraction. Some of these guys you let go, I think you're better off. Get younger talent, hungry talent that wants to prove themselves and you know and
yeah.
do good. So
Plus, you got him on a rookie contract for 4 years, so it's
yeah,
control.
exactly.
That's what I was glad that we didn't go after these big free agents. With Max Crosby, or just recently, what was it, Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. I mean, they got the number 10 pick in the draft from Cincinnati for him. So now I'm glad the Bears, because I just didn't want to give up the draft capital this year, especially as tight as the Bears were with the up against the salary cap this year. Just can't give up
Yeah,
draft picks. They're too valuable.
yeah. I mean, the Packers, they don't have a number ones for the next 2 years, but they have quite a stockpile of draft picks.
Yeah,
So and I think not this year, but next year the receiver class is going to be huge. And I think that's when a lot of our contracts are up, and so
yeah.
I think
Next year is
they're
definitely they're predicting to be a stronger draft. Although there's some good picks this year too. Just doesn't have the flash at quarterbacks as in years past.
yeah. I'm trying to guess who's going to be our backup quarterback, QB2, since Malik Willis is now in Miami.
Who's
I'm thinking
who's
we
you
have
who's on?
Desmond Ritter, and we have was it Kyle McCord?
Okay, that name you know. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So but see, here's my philosophy on this. You know, look what LaFleur did with Malik Willis. What quarterback, Anthony Richardson, wouldn't want to come to Green Bay and have Matt LaFleur rejuvenate his career. Come in, bring him in, not recycle him, but sharpen his skills, get him
Mhm.
onto that next contract. Why wouldn't someone like that want to do that?
Maybe Anthony Richardson wants to play right now, and he knows he's not going to. But yeah, I don't know. It's like LaFleur puts his quarterbacks in great position. He's a great play caller, and how many look at everybody's talking about how good of a quarterback Willis was. That Bears game, did he even throw 10 passes in that game? I mean, that
I don't know. I have to go back and
it
look at the
was
stats,
very
but
low. It was a very low attempt rate. They did a lot of running, and they used him to run, but they did a lot of just faking and this and that. He didn't throw that many passes. That's what I'm saying. I, when you say LaFleur's a
he was
good play
efficient
caller,
and effective.
what?
He was efficient and effective.
Right? Yeah. He didn't put up. I don't. I know he didn't make 20 attempts. But I think it was like closer to just 10 or 11 attempts in that game. It wasn't. It wasn't that much.
Yeah, I mean, I look back to not last year, but the year before when we played the Indianapolis Colts when Love was out, and they knew Malik Willis was going to be the quarterback,
Yeah.
and the Packers. So I mean, you don't really know. I mean, he was never really known as a passer, so you knew, we're probably going to run the ball. And I
Yeah.
think the first quarter of that game, we had 134 yards rushing.
Yeah.
But it was just it's crazy. I don't understand why like Lafleur he knew what he had in Malik Willis. Why wouldn't you have like different packages for you know take Love out for a couple plays, bring it what I'm saying, get the offense going because there are times that were when Love was out there, they were kind of stagnant and slow, and then the Love got hurt unfortunately, but then Malik came in, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes the offense.
Yeah. I don't.
I just
Dual quarterbacks, that would be tough. I think because defenses could prepare for that. Like, okay, here comes Malik. He's going to probably do something like this. I don't know if that would work. It'd be interesting, but I'm not sure if that would work these days. And I don't know if your number one quarterback would feel good about that. Why are you taking me out?
yeah, I know, but I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it says in week 16 of the 2025 season, Malik Willis played excellent football in relief of Jordan Love, but suffered a loss in overtime. He threw a 33-yard touchdown to Romeo Doubs, finished 9 of 11,
yeah,
and had key scrambles. So yeah, I mean you're right. I
9-11.
mean he's but yeah, I just I don't see why. Like I said, I don't see why a quarterback wouldn't want to come to get rejuvenated in Green Bay. The
Yeah, that would
quarterback
be it. Yeah,
whisperer.
that would be a destination point, I would think, just to be under that kind of coaching.
And for all the people who are like, oh, there's nothing to do in Green Bay. Cool. Come craft your skill. Come craft your game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't get done with practice. Go out. Drive to Milwaukee until like 4 o'clock in the morning. Come back and be at practice for 8 a.m. Just do what Charles Woodson did. He was getting into trouble out in Oakland, and Packers signed him. He did practice. He went to his condo and read.
yeah,
It's just didn't do anything. So it's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, if depending
yeah.
on how you want to look at it. How do you think your defense responds after the losses on their side of the ball? You think they go out and find key contributors, or just try to build to the draft?
Well, I mean, they got Kobe Bryant in free agency from the Seahawks, which I think was huge. It was completely unexpected, and I love what you're drinking there. There, nice. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
They. So I also think that there's potential that they have the answers in camp already with Austin Booker. I know he's not a fan favorite in Green Bay right now, but he played 6 games and had 4.5 sacks. He was injured first half of the year. So I think when everyone looks at that are following the Bears say they need a pass rusher, they need an edge, and we got to get Crosby. Their pass rush needs improved. Yes, that definitely needs improved, but how you don't necessarily have to go and get 25, $30 million a year guy or whatever to do that. And I think, you've got Austin Booker, who has showed a lot of promise. Shamir Turner, that he was injured too, and he was he's a rookie from last year that no one really saw much of, and that they're hoping for things to happen. Javon Dexter has been uh, like he's more of an interior, but I think that they could have the answers already there. So when you're dealing with the draft, you're looking for depth. You're looking for people to provide competition. Um, so I think they'll be all right there. I think in losing, they lost Tremaine Edmonds. They let him go in the linebacker core, but they picked up Evan Bush from the Browns. So they got another speed guy. I mean, they're looking to put in these speed players that Dennis Allen likes, because one of their best defensive games was that last game against the Rams in the divisional playoff, but it wasn't necessarily what they really want to do. They were blitzing Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker all game. And that's not, you don't want to sit there and base your defense on blitzing safeties all the time. At some point you're going to get
Right.
burned, but they just were able to do that for that game. But I think Allen is creative in his blitzes and his pressure, but it's not always just throwing 7 guys at the quarterback either. So I think that they're going to, I'm hoping they respond well. There's a reason they let these guys go, and there's a reason that they didn't get picked up for big contracts either. I was seeing by the end of the year, Nashawn Wright was supposed to get, 15, $16 million, and he got the standard 1-year deal. And so there's a reason for that. And
You
so,
guys got Jack Sanborn coming back too, don't you?
yeah, Super Bowl, baby. Let's go.
Yeah,
Sam,
yeah.
no, he's a
Well,
fan
he's
favorite.
a solid player. I remember when
Oh, yeah.
I know of him because of he played at Wisconsin. Him and Leo Chanel, they called that linebacking group Death Row, and they always had Death Row written on their arms. Kind of cool, but
Yeah, he's
got
solid. He's smart. He's not going to be necessarily a difference maker necessarily, but he's a good fill-in piece, and he's got him on a good contract. So yeah, I was happy I was like, okay, good deal. Okay, he's not gonna,
yeah,
you know, low risk, high reward type of a thing. So
right. We got Mark chiming in here. Bears insider, I guess. You need to learn about the enemy. What positions do you want the Packers to fill in the early rounds? I already said it. Cornerback, D tackle, line, linebackers. Maybe a running back since you lost Emmanuel Wilson. So, but yeah. What are your thoughts on the? I guess I know we've talked about this in the past, but um, what are your thoughts on the rivalry with the Packers? Do you think it feels personal again between the two teams?
well, at least for the Bears anyway, because we've been out of it for so long. It's nice to say that the Bears have won 3 out of the last 5 matchups. It's nice to say that. I know it's a
Yeah,
small sample size, but it's nice to say, go on that they're 3 out of and that Caleb Williams has a winning record against the Packers. So
and he has a foam cheese grater.
yes, right.
I don't know. I saw him hanging up by by the Kardashians at Coachella. That might be a curse right there. You know.
God, I hope not.
Um, what are your thoughts on the uh, the culture and coaching in Chicago with the addition of Ben Johnson last year and what he's brought so far?
Well, last year's team definitely bought into it. Just there's a lot more accountability going on. That hoodie that I was wearing at Wrigley before it got changed to a Green Bay one, it was it was
Oh, what
his
you're talking
famous
about?
line from his opening press conference says, get comfortable being uncomfortable. He's
Yeah,
not easy on Caleb Williams. They had a little bit of a rough start together, but they appear to be in have a good relationship that can um, Caleb's willing to learn. I think just the accountability, seeing that things have actually worked too, that helps. So the fact that they won 10 games last year, that after losing at least 10 games, it seemed like forever, was a big thing. So I just think they've bought into it right now. Who was it? Kevin Baird, who left, actually was interviewed after he had left, and he talked about how great the culture was in it, how great the locker room was, and how it just was nice to feel that accountability, that they had just been lacking under the Eberflus hits principles or whatever he had going on there.
Yeah, it's I mean, they definitely turned it around. They definitely bought into whatever Ben Johnson was selling. And I mean, it's good no matter what team it is to see a team buy in to the system and have
Yeah,
success.
yeah,
Um, but one thing I like about the Packers is they're finally starting to like clean house within and actually getting coaches from the outside instead of promoting within. Um, I like the the Gannon hire at D coordinator. I like the fact that he used to be a head coach, so
mhm,
he can he can man a whole team. He can
yeah.
reel in the whole defense and be there, and he knows what it takes as a head coach. It's just promoting from within. It just can only work so many times.
Right.
You can't hire your wide receiver coach as a different. It doesn't work. I
You
mean,
need
very
different
few times is
voices.
that actually.
You need
Yeah,
different
I mean,
eyes. Yeah.
there was an article in Green Bay about a guy who a coach that was what he was like I forgot like some type of quality control for something. Then he was like the wide receivers coach, and then he was something else. And there's an article kind of like exposing like the crap that goes on in Packers locker room. And one guy referred to him as like the coffee getter for the coaches. He'd go and get coffee. Now he's a coach and now he's some type of an assistant in Philadelphia. So
Mm,
you know, but yeah, I don't know. I think with Ed Policy, I just think that he's not messing around. I think he showed that with going out and getting Micah Parsons. I really
yeah.
think that showed. And then they said that there's an article saying that when they lost in against Chicago in the playoffs, that they knew that night that they were going to extend. They just had to agree with terms with LaFleur and everybody else because I call it the trio hire because it was Russ Ball, Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur that all got extended together. So
Okay.
um, I don't know. I think the Packers are going to turn it around from last year. I think, like I said earlier in the show, I think losing Parsons was huge. Losing Tucker
Mhm.
Kraft was huge. I mean, it just goes to show you that you know losing people like that can affect your whole team. Even though there's other guys out there, and I've said in the past too, is they always say next man up, but it's not always the next man up that you want up. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
so. Um, yeah, I still, I when I think of DJ Moore, I still blows my mind that he's in Buffalo, but it is what it is. And that when I think of him, I don't think about anything he did in Carolina. I think about what he did against the Packers, and
Right.
I always will.
Yeah.
Um,
That was tough. It was. It just I thought he'd still be on the team just because of his contract wasn't very team friendly. It was $27 million that was going to take. So I just figured he'd still be here because they couldn't unload him. But Buffalo was the perfect buyer for that. They feel that they're just a few players away. So
yeah, I was looking up some. I don't know if this history or rivalry facts is true. Historical facts between the Bears and the Packers. Um, It says in 1932 the Packers actually loaned George Halas money to keep the Bears from going bankrupt. Is that true to your knowledge?
I thought it was the other way around. I thought Hallis
I don't
loaned
know.
the Packers money.
I know Halas traveled to Green Bay in '56 to campaign for the referendum that funded the construction of what is now Lambeau Field.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look more into that. But that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I always thought it
Maybe
was the other way around.
maybe Ed Policy can loan the Bears money to move from Chicago to Indiana.
Not gonna happen.
So what? So that was gaining steam for the longest time a few months ago. It kind of went quiet. What is the latest on the potential move to Indiana? Have you heard anything?
So Friday, I was listening to 104.3 The Score, which is one of the big radio stations in the area, sports radio stations. And they had Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner, who's from South Side of Chicago. He covers that area, who's been on top of this. He's been following along. And I know he's a politician, but the things he was saying has me 95% convinced that they're going to Arlington Heights, and it'll probably happen within the next week or two. We'll probably find that out. It's just a matter of dotting, the I's and crossing the T's right now. Is Indiana a legitimate option? Yes, I think it is. It's not the option they want. One of the things that they were running into as far as getting people on board, getting votes, you still had some stragglers in Chicago that thought they could save the team and keep them on the lakefront. And I think that ship has just passed. Unfortunately, it would be really great to keep them there, but Illinois politics is bad. Chicago's is even worse. So I think the Arlington Heights deal is going to be done, and it's going to be done. I would say I'll be generous and say before Memorial Day. So that's
What? So logistically, I heard people complaining about if it did go to Arlington Heights, what would be the issues with it being located there? Like as far as like game day travel, I mean, is there? I'm not too familiar with everything. I just kind of heard, or read stuff online saying that people are like upset, like if it goes to Arlington Heights because like the logistics to get there and parking and everything
well,
else.
logistically, I'm not sure because there's already a uh, public transportation that goes right out to the property there because they used to have a racetrack on that property where they're at that the Bears bought. So there was already um, they already had a bit of the infrastructure as far as like just traveling there already there. What I did see was like, say, if they go to Arlington Heights, that would be a longer trip for me personally than if they move to Indiana. The Indiana one, it would probably be an easier one for me just because I'm in the southwest suburbs. So there was a lot of talk about that. Was like, well, what are you talking about going to Arlington Heights? Indiana's closer for a good portion of the Chicago Bears fans. It's especially if you live in the city, getting to Indiana to down near Gary and all that it can be very quick, and it'd probably be an easier trip than going to Arlington Heights. But I think it I don't know as far as like just logistically because they already have some transportation lines out that way, so I'm not sure if that had been an issue.
Yeah, if they went to Indiana, I mean, I could. We were coming back from Westfield, Indiana last summer. I might have told you the story, and like we had, in our Honda Odyssey, we had the navigation plugged into the phone with whatever Google Maps on the screen, and I was trying to like tell my wife where to go, like because it's so confusing down there if you're not used to it.
Yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, go right here, because it's like you're trying to whatever, and there's like 5, 6 lanes of traffic wide going one way, and people driving like they're trying to qualify for the Formula One pole position, and we end up going to Geary. I'm like, oh my god, okay, there's always houses that are just oh cool, maybe we can find the Jackson 5 house, but what it was just. You don't want to have a car breakdown in Gary, Indiana. Obviously, I think the whole world knows that. And
it's
then coming out of Gary, Indiana,
yeah,
go ahead.
you've got three major interstates converging there. You've got I-80, you've got I-90 and 94. So it can be very challenging, getting from one way to the other. And if your GPS will sometimes say, well, save 15 minutes and you go this way, well, it gets you off the highway and you've got red lights to deal with. And so
Yeah, then
I always stick to what I'm going, and I almost turn off the GPS at that point because I know where I'm going.
you're at a red light in Gary, Indiana. It's like, okay, kids, just look forward, lock the doors, and just whatever. And it wasn't. I mean, whatever. It just
Yeah.
can't be any worse than going to like downtown Milwaukee at times. But but and then we get back into Illinois, and then we ended up going. We couldn't get over in time to not take the downtown
Oh,
sky or whatever. So you had
would
to
you
pay like
go on the
14,
Skyway?
$15 to go on
Oh,
the Skyway, which I thought was kind of cool because I was getting some pretty cool pictures and everything. But
yeah.
it's just the traffic, stop and go, stop and go. Then you go past like the on ramp, and there's this bumper to bumper traffic, and you have people that are going flying by you on the on the whatever, not the wayside, but like on the side where it's like you're not supposed to be, and they just skip like 50 cars and go flying forward, and they nose dive in front of you, and it's like, come on, man,
Yeah.
you know. But we eventually made it back. That was a long adventure. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was like 3 hours wasted because of our detours, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't bad, but yeah, like you said, for some Bears fans, it's closer going to Indiana,
Yeah.
which you might prefer. Would you go to games in Indiana if they did go there?
Oh, of course. I would be very disappointed, but if somebody handed me a ticket for the first game there, I would be there, with bells on. I would, but I'd be disappointed. But you put a winning product on the field, everybody would forget.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see like the rent or like what they have planned for if they did go to Indiana, like the casino, the hotels, and everything, and like what that would bring to that part of Indiana would probably be pretty amazing.
Well, they've
Even
already
though
got
it's like
stuff there, yeah. But
eh, just to add on though, just
yeah,
you know you probably won't be paying as much for food and beer at the games as you are in Chicago.
probably not. No. Yeah. One of the issues with why like tickets are so expensive, they're above average and like concessions is they only seat 64,000. They've only got so many. It's the smallest stadium right now, Soldier Field seating capacity wise in the league. So yeah, their tickets are going to be more. So maybe some
Yeah,
other places like Danikin, who's on our show on the Barroom Network, he lives in the Georgia, down in Georgia, and he goes to Atlanta Falcons games, and he's talking about all these great meal deals, like getting a hamburger, fries, and a drink for like $20. And like, what?
yeah,
That seems absurd, but it's they've got a big stadium and they're filling it up, and they're making their money that way.
yeah. Too bad Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays.
Right. Yeah.
That never made any sense to me. Why'd you have a stadium where I guess you're doing college on Saturday, but on Sunday you bring NFL there if you have a home game and your name your major restaurant's closed.
Yeah, somehow they're making enough money because they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't. So
Well, look at their sponsor.
yeah,
um, but yeah, I don't know. Part of me thinks it'd be. I mean, obviously, it'd be hilarious if the Bears did go to Indiana, just for the simple fact that one of the oldest teams in history is
pride
in
and joy of
Indiana. But at the same
Illinois.
time, but at the same time, is you want to keep the history in its current location. It's
Yeah,
kind of like it'd be like the equivalent of the Packers going to like Escanaba, Michigan, or up in the UP of Michigan. It'd be the same thing. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know my stance on that. I like I said, I hope they stay, but I don't know. It'd be kind of
I
funny
think
if they
so.
didn't.
I said it here. They're staying in Illinois. They're going to Arlington Heights. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah. They'd be cool if they did for sure. Go to Arlington Heights just to stay in Chicago or the
right.
Illinois area. Um, are you doing anything special for the draft? You're just gonna stay at home and revel in the
Oh
selections.
yeah, yeah. I'll watch a little bit of it. I'll probably the first round and then keep track of it. For our show that we do. Our show, the Bare Their Souls, is Wednesday night, so it'll be before the draft. So it'll be an interesting show talking about, um, you know, I mean, a lot can change between now and Wednesday. So, but yeah, I don't go all out for the draft. I remember remember when it was Saturday morning when it would start then, and you wake up in
Yeah,
your PJs and you went downstairs and turned on ESPN, and you know,
yeah.
but
And
now it's
now
just
ESPN's I don't know. ESPN is going downhill fast, but yeah, I uh, I probably won't watch the first round. I have no reason to, unless the Packers trade up.
yeah. I mean, if you're if you're thinking like that, yeah. But I've always found it interesting,
Yeah,
especially the NFL one because every round matters. And there's so many names involved. It's unlike any other of all the major sports. NBA they have 2 rounds, and if you don't get one in the top 10, it's like it's nothing. But with the NFL draft, all 7 rounds are fairly intriguing.
yeah, like the storylines too. Like I remember I was at the draft last year in Green Bay, and when they drafted Barron Sorrell, he was like the last guy left in the green room in Green Bay, and the
Wow.
Packers selected him. That was kind of cool,
Yeah.
you know. I remember where I was when the Browns drafted Shador Sanders, the exact spot that I was standing at Lambeau Field. But no, it's fun to go just to like know like the storylines of players that maybe you followed in college. You see them
Yeah.
get make it to the next level. But yeah, do you think there'll ever be like a draft type thing in college football, as far as like from high school to college?
Oh, well, I mean, they have, what is it, signing day, which
Yeah,
I hate that. I do not like it. After covering high school sports for 11 years, I have a bad taste in my mouth with those signing day things. And I hope not. I really hope not. But if they
it's
find a
it's
way
getting
to
to be
monetize it, they
it's
will.
it's get. I mean, to me, it's getting to be. I mean, not too much, but I think athletes need to get college athletes need to get paid. But I think as far as like the transfer portal, I think they got to have it to like one transfer like every 3 years, because it's just getting to be every single year you got kids going from one school to the next, the next. Back in the day, you transferred, you had to sit the whole year out before you could play for
Yeah,
the team, and it's just
but if you're gonna let it all comes down to if you're gonna let coaches do it, you gotta let the kids do it too. And it just either you have all or nothing. And right now we
that's what I'm
got
saying though.
you know,
There's got to be rules and regulations put in place, but
yeah, there will be I
but
think some, but it is what it is. And
yeah,
you see coaches either leaving or staying, because either they've adapted to it and have no problem with it. And all I know is I'm thinking like back in the 80s when you had that old Southwest Conference, they were basically doing this, what they're doing now. It just was illegal back then, paying the
was it like
guys.
SMU and
Yeah, SMU and Texas A&M and all those. Yeah, Arkansas. Yeah,
now teams are getting upset because now teams can actually do what they were doing before it was
right.
legal.
Anybody can
You
do
have
it.
like
Yeah,
you have Mark Cuban bankrolling Indiana and they won the national championship.
right. They got guys playing 6, 7 years. It's just that I think they're going to change. I think eligibility is going to change first. Having
Well,
to
yeah,
go.
you even got college basketball players that got drafted. They didn't whatever in the NBA that ended up. I think that kid at Alabama did that. He went back and
Yeah, right. They're going back to the
it,
to college because they can
he's
make
like he's like
money.
26 years old.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Um, but yeah, what is your so people? I mean, I guess I'm curious too. Is what is your history with RC Cola? Have you been drinking since you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was around when I was a kid, and we had it a lot. With me personally, it was not having it for 11 years when we lived in the South and coming back to it and rediscovering my love for it and saying, "Oh, wow, look at this here." And that's kind of what it really was as when we moved back to the Chicago area back in 2016 and seeing that it's still around because when you're not it kind of got forgotten there for so long. So that's really what it was just rediscovering it after years of just not having it around.
Yeah, it goes great with pizza.
Yeah.
Definitely, it does. It's probably
Yes.
the best thing to have with pizza is a dark soda, and it's either Dr Pepper or RC
Yeah.
in my opinion. But um, what uh, tell the people what you do for like your food reviews for some people that are just watching for the first time. Maybe I know you've mentioned it in the past, and
Yeah,
but
I just go around Chicago, the Chicago area, and I like to try to find little, I guess you call them hidden gems. Do my food reviews. They're on all the socials, TikTok. I've got the if you want to see just a good collection of it, my YouTube channel at Fitzmagic Shy, that's got 82 videos on it right now. And some of my early ones weren't that great. I think I've done a little better now here recently, but I like going to the Chicago street food, the hot dogs, pizza puffs, pizza, burgers, tacos, things like that. I don't really, as far as the reviews, I don't get into the fancier Chicago eateries like Bavette's or anything like that, or those fancy steakhouses, although I do like them, but I like to keep the simple ones, the ones that are probably that been owned. I love finding the places that have been around for like 100 years. I was at a pizza place in Summit, Illinois, was opened in 1930, and they've been serving what we know as tavern style pizza since then. Just things like that, and it's a fun thing to do, and I just really enjoy it. And then we show it on our show on the Barroom Network on Wednesday nights, and I guess you get the premiere video uh, on Wednesday nights for that. And I'm just going to keep doing them.
so on that Wednesday night, you do your food review and you guys talk about bears,
Oh yeah,
about the bears.
so Barroom Network, Aldo, who runs that, he's been doing it over 10 years, and there's a number of podcasts on there, and it's called the one I'm on is called Bear Their Souls, and it's Bears football right now. We're draft heavy, obviously, and I come on for a little comic relief there, about an hour into the show, and talk about food and lighten things up. But we got a good group on there. I think it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, no, I've caught on a few times and said hello and whatnot. I think you've mentioned me on there a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love Chicago, like the skyline and the food I like about Chicago. That's about it. And
That's
and and the people on social media, um, the ones that don't have me blocked and the ones that aren't coming to my DMs, harassing me.
Who would block you? I see a lot of
Come on, man.
Packer trolls out there that I can see why they get blocked. Who would block you though?
Right? I mean, you got some weirdo out there making these AI pictures and stuff. I don't know. We'll have to find him and sue him or for his damages.
No,
But no,
people that were
it's
responding
all
to
in
that
fun.
were decent folks. I could tell you.
Oh yeah, there's some of them that were mutual followers, so
Yeah,
it was all. I'm one that I get an idea and I act on it right away.
yeah.
And I thought it was funny. I just like I have to do this. I know he's
You
not going to care, whatever. And
know, I saw it when it first went up, but I was at the game yesterday, the Cubs game, and I just was scrolling through stuff, and then I saw it later on after I got home. It was like 9:30, I think, when I finally responded to it, or it was like, oh wait, this happened. I was like, so I was just going through it again. So no,
then you find then you find people on there that retweeted it and they had like four different, what does it
that
say,
was Aldo. That was Aldo. Yeah,
FGB or something like
yeah, right. Yeah,
that.
Aldo
So
got it all.
it was that was funny. It's stuff like that makes social media fun when you can do stuff like that and people get the joke and people can have a laugh about it
Great.
because there's so much stuff going on now that it's just you know
Yeah,
can get people down. So well, I do appreciate you being on tonight as always. It was fun. We kind of went all over the place, but when you have Bears and Packers, that's bound to happen.
that's about.
Um, it's bound to happen, but I'd love to have you back on sometime this summer. We can talk about the draft and your thoughts on the draft and what you see the Bears doing this upcoming season.
This division is going to be tough. I think you got Minnesota getting Kyler Murray. That's going to make things interesting, So the division, I think it's going to be another battle. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. Do you see Kyler Murray taking over McCarthy's spot?
I think that's the plan. They got him for a real cheap deal for like $1 million for 1 year, and there's nobody's ever had a problem with him throwing the ball. So now he's with a good quarterback coach. They could be dangerous. And remember, if in the Bears game, when they played the Bears in Minnesota, the Bears won on that last second field goal because they had a great return in the last seconds. If that doesn't happen and the Vikings win that game, they win the division. They were okay.
Yeah.
It's like they weren't that far off, and now I think they got a quarterback who's got two really good receivers to throw to. They're going to be dangerous. So
Yeah. I still can't believe the Vikings let Darnold walk, or they couldn't get him back to resign. It's
yeah,
just, and the next year he wins. He wins the
he's
Lombardi. It's
yeah,
just
yeah. That GM
that.
was
I
fun.
mean, that history too with the storyline with the Patriots GM was Ron Wolf's. I always get this wrong. I think it was his son Elliot
Oh, okay,
is the
okay,
GM of the Patriots, and then John Schneider is the GM of the Seahawks. They're both from Green Bay. They're both born in Green Bay.
okay.
It's just crazy how the storyline at the Super Bowl was, but
Yeah,
yeah, and they were both in the Packers front office too for years as scouts and whatever with whatnot. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um, but yeah, we'll get you back on and we'll get your thoughts on the draft, and I'm excited
yeah,
to see what your thoughts are moving forward for the next football season. But again, I appreciate you being on, and again, tell people where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
yep. Find me on all the socials at Cheap Seats 411 on YouTube. It's at Fitzmagic Shy. And I use the hashtag FitzMagicEats for all my food stuff that I got going on. I usually have a review out every Wednesday, so take a look at that. And always a pleasure to be on here, Brian.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You as well. Thanks.